I love my dad so much. I fucking love that man, you know, love him. He did a good job. However, there are some moments where I'm just like, how'd you make it? You know, like how'd you do it this long? I need to read you this text chain from him because it's actually describes my father so perfectly. So I've been telling my dad was a big fan of The Last of Us, which is obviously back on for season 2. My dad could be so invested and not invested in something at the same time. Like I had to remind him, hey, that show that you fucking loved, it's back. So I texted him and I mean, I've been telling him for like 2 weeks, hey, it's back. Make sure you watch it. And then like every once in a while, he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to try to watch it tonight. Fucking bullshit. So I get a text from him on Sunday at 6:00. How can I watch The Last of Us? I respond, Max, HBO, better catch up. New ep tonight. What's the login to Hulu? I go, like, just, is that a separate question? I said, HBO, Dad, Max, where you watch Game of Thrones. We don't have HBO. Max, that's how you watched Game of Thrones. He sends me the emoji with the big eyes, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then he goes, here we go. I just signed up for Cinemax. I go, dude, what's Cinemax? LOL. Max is HBO. HBO Max. Like, okay. And then I send him a link to Max. And I say again, HBO is now Max. And then he sends me that emoji that's like, looks fucking drunk. Like, bah. I have no idea if my dad watched the episode. Cinemax might be a porn site also. I have no fucking idea. But that I get that and I go, Dad, there is this wonderful thing called Google. All you got to do is like type in where to watch The Last of Us. How the fuck did I go from HBO Max to Cinemax? Also, what the fuck is Cinemax? So anyway, I needed to share that because I thought that was the funniest shit ever. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to talk shit about I'm going to be getting to some advice today. Yeah, I'm going to be giving you guys advice. You guys had the audacity to ask me for advice, and I'm going to do my best to steer you in the right direction. But I you know, whatever. I'm talking shit about my family. Shane's a sociopath. I know that's like a really bold statement. He's a fucking psychopath. I know this just because I've been with him for 5 years. Like like the dude drinks milk in the middle of the night. Like he used to wake up and get a slice of Kraft cheese out of the fridge. Like diabolical shit. Okay. But he did something last night where I'm like, you are not well. I'm taking a shower downstairs and I go upstairs. It's like 8:00. It's the time of the night where I don't want to fucking be stimulated by anything other than a screen. You know, I go upstairs. We don't have good lighting in this house. We have great natural lighting, which is what I like to use as my lighting. We have, no joke, like Sears fluorescent fitting room lighting in our living room upstairs. You can dim it. I don't even fucking dim it. I just keep it off. I go upstairs. Shane is watching sports, which I thought sports were done. Like I thought it was just that time of the year where we're fucking done with sports. He's watching some sort of sporting event. I don't know what it is. And he has all of the fucking lights on full blast all the way up. I go up there. I go, I'm sorry, are you performing surgery? What's going on up here? He's like, well, I'm not ready for bed. His eyes are fucking bugged out of his head. I go, okay, are you prepping for heart surgery? 2 seconds up there. And I thought I was having a goddamn stroke. And it's normal for him. Like he'll have all the fluorescent lights on at any given time of the day. It's such a red flag. And I'm like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, I just don't want to get sleepy. I'm like, trust me, no one in this house is getting sleepy. It's a fucking Sears fitting room in this bitch. And then whatever, I'm talking about shit about my family. So I have 2 dachshunds, if you don't know, Winston and Willa. And Winston's great. He has his quirks, like definitely a high maintenance guy, but he's like the homie, you know? Willa, not. Willa, I swear to God, I don't know what happened with her. That bitch got dropped on her fucking head a few times because she is whack. Willa is smart enough to know when she's made a mistake, but she is not smart enough to fix those mistakes. So we know when she's done something wrong, not because we can see the thing that she did wrong, but she finds a way to tell us. So when I was gone a couple weeks ago, Shane texted me this whole story about how in the middle of the night he stepped in Willa's shit and like slipped across the kitchen floor. And I was like, honestly, rather you than me, King. So then he told me I came home from boxing last night and he goes, Willa shit on the rug. I go, oh, shocker. Because, if you don't give her attention, she's like me. Okay. If you don't give her attention, she retaliates a little bit. She shit on the rug. Okay. How, did you step in it again? No, I didn't even see it. I knew she shit on the rug. Oh, why? Because Willa, when she does something wrong now, she takes herself into her playpen and she hides under the blanket and you just see one of her little fucking demon eyes sticking out of the blanket. She puts herself in timeout, but she won't do the work to correct the behavior. She'll just take herself to timeout. I'm like, honestly, I this is karma, because when I was younger, my mom, when she was mad at me, which felt like all the time, she's like, one day you're going to have a daughter and she's going to be tenfold. And I'd be like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. And then I got Willa and now it all makes sense. Anyway, today I am going to do my best to give you guys advice. Now, I don't want to plug our socials. I'm not going to be like, make sure you guys follow us. But if you do follow us on Instagram, we're Life's a Joke Pod. I think there's an underscore. Life's a Joke _pod. Life's a Joke _pod. I just got confirmation off camera. Life's a Joke _pod is our Instagram. We also have a TikTok. However, on our Instagram, we are going to be doing better at seeing what you guys want advice on. And I'm going to do my best not to fuck up your life if it isn't already fucked up enough. So we're going to be asked, there's a lot. I was shocked. We asked, hey, what do you guys want to know more about? And there's a sea of responses, which I was like, you guys are fucking insane, in the sense that you should all be concerned for yourself that you want advice from me. But hey, whatever, we can do a whole episode about it. So I got a whole bunch, and I am not going to be able to get through all of them, but in different episodes, I am going to revisit these. They're evergreen, and hopefully some are vague, some are specific, and if you're going through something similar, hopefully this helps you or makes it 10 times worse. This is not a money back guarantee situation. I don't know, why did it not make sense? Guys, I am so, like, I've been up since 5 a.m. We also have to shoot something after this till like 10 p.m. I'm running on just Alani. No, I don't even think I've had a sip of that water today. Did I mumble? What did I say? Great. So now me and Carmela just be having strokes. Okay. The point being, I'm going to fucking read some of these goddamn prompts and hopefully they help you. And if they don't, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Don't sue me. All right. Here's what we got at first. Relationships. Dating men older than you. Just don't date any men at all. I've been single for 2.5 years and honestly, it feels never ending. Sometimes men are intimidated by my accomplishments, but I never want to dumb myself down. So how do I balance that? So I have dated men older than me and younger than me. They all suck. I mean, they kind of are all trash. Not all of them. Age for men is kind of like dog years. I don't know what the math is, but like a 30-year-old man is really an 18-year-old man. It's kind of like a dog. Like a 5-year-old dog is like 75 in human years. It's the same logic. So if you're 30 and you're dating a 25-year-old, you're dating a minor, like mentally you're dating a minor. When people say age is just a number, it is until it isn't. Like at some point, age is a fucking number. Sometimes they're too old and sometimes they're too young. There are some things that only come with experience. However, there are people that are older that are far more immature than those that are younger because they've had more life experiences, blah, 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 blah. I think if you're in a relationship, if you're a woman and you are dating a man and that man is older than you, I'm not talking like 8 months, 2 years, 4 years. I'm talking like 8 to 10 plus years older than you. They need to be far more obsessed with you than you are obsessed with them. That's the only way that power dynamic works. I used to be like, date younger than you. That was always my thing. And I've dated men that were younger than me that were great. And I've dated men that were younger than me that were trash. So there really isn't a one size fits all when it comes to an age gap between 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, however the fuck you like to get down. But what I will say is when they're younger, you can kind of mold them a little bit. You can kind of train them, you can teach them. But also, no one wants to be fucking doing that. Like as you get older, that I had that patience when I was 25. I'm like, yeah, I'll date a guy that's a little bit younger. Let me mold him. Let me show. Like now I'd be like, bitch, I'm not fucking, you need to come with, everything that I need you to have out the gate. I can't be, building a Ken doll here. I can't be buying extra pieces. So you never want to, listen, you want somebody that's your biggest fan. You want somebody that's going to make you feel like you're the dopest fucking person. Like, you really just want somebody that's your number one cheerleader. And if you are even saying men are intimidated, like, yes, there are men that are intimidated by a woman that like has her shit together, because, that can be a knock to a man's ego. And if you're a woman and you prioritize your work and you like, whatever it may be, you need to date somebody that understands that. But you also need to date somebody that has their own passions and drive. I think best case scenario, at least speaking from my personal experience, is two people that have their own thing, that have their own drive and have their own lanes. And then they meet somewhere in the middle together. You never want it to feel competitive. The reality is somebody is always going to be up and someone's always going to be down, or someone's going to be up a little more, and that should fluctuate. And I talked about that on an episode where that should go up and down. It shouldn't be a dynamic where like one person is always up and one person is always down. And age, there's no guarantee that somebody that's older than you is always going to have it together, and there's no guarantee that someone younger than you is not going to have it together. That being said, it can get a little tricky sometimes when you are dating somebody that is older than you, specifically a male, because typically you can be more likely to be taken advantage of, speaking from experience. When you are the younger one in a relationship, you might be a little bit more insecure. You might be a little bit more immature. You might be a little bit more not defiant in who you are and your goals and your aspirations. And if you're dating somebody that's older that has some sort of complex, that can be taken advantage of. And I was in a relationship like that, and I always just assumed, oh, it's because I'm younger. I'll know when I'm older. And the issue is like, no, that dude was just a piece of shit. So you never want to be in a relationship with anybody that makes your accomplishments feel less than. You genuinely should be dating your biggest cheerleader. Your biggest cheerleader should be there at every single obstacle in your life, when you're really up, but mainly when you're really down. Situationships in the modern dating world. Oh God, listen, dating is school for relationships. You're not going to just like start mixing potions and be like, oh, I'm a scientist, right? You got to go to school and like mix shit and accidentally blow shit up to be like, oh, I can't mix those two chemicals together. Now I know. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to just go fucking Bill Nye and be like, I'm going to do all this with no experience. Dating is so integral to the future of your relationships, the sustainability of your one day, maybe forever relationship. You need a fucking date. And more importantly, you need to go on bad dates. Bad dates are so important. I say all the time, you never know what you want, but dating will teach you what you don't want. And that's just as important. So the issue is it does get dicey because we're fucking humans. So it is very rare. Let's say we're talking about two people in a situationship. It is very rare that both people will continue to stay on the same page for the duration of that situationship. And I think that's why it gets a little dicey. One person might want a casual hookup. The other person might start getting feelings. One person might be dating other people. The other person might be like, wait, I thought we were doing this together. I think your best bet is to just go for it. I think that like we try to get ahead of ourselves. Like I have actually a good amount of friends that are single right now that are my age. And they'll go on like 2 dates and they'll be like, oh, I don't know. I know he's not my forever person. So, and I'm like, well, okay, you're already doing the most. And if you're at a point in your life where you're like, no, I want to be serious. I want to get married. I want to have kids. Then yeah, don't fucking waste your time. But if you're still in that period of your life where you don't really know what you want, just fucking go on dates. Go on dates with the people that you know aren't your forever people. Who fucking cares? Just like, you're just collecting data. Do your research. Just do research. Go on the fucking dates. Go on the bad dates. Go on the good dates. Date the people that, maybe you could see a future with, and date the people that you don't see a future with. I don't know. And compare notes. I think that is so important. I think everybody should do it. And, the people that end up making the best partners, in my experience, are those that have collected the data, you know? All right, I'm literally winded right now. Okay, next one. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. It just says moving in with a significant other for the first time in adulthood. You're going to learn more about yourself than you are about that other person. I have a specific outlook on this because I'm an only child. So when I moved in with a significant other, number one, it was a very toxic relationship. So that, wasn't the best first experience. I learned a lot, cried a lot, but I learned a lot. But also, it was kind of my first experience coexisting with somebody else because I don't know, having a girlfriend that's a roommate is different because I don't know, we're not sharing a fucking bedroom. When you move in with a significant other, you're probably sharing a bedroom, you're probably sharing a bathroom, you're probably sharing a kitchen, you're probably sharing, I don't fucking know, whatever else, bodily fluids. Like it's just, there's a lot at stake. Communication is the most important. You really need to communicate your boundaries when you live with somebody and how you like things. And I think you learn a lot about the other person's love language, and the way that you want love might not be the way that you give love. And you have to be understanding of how the other person wants love. When I first started dating the first person that I moved in with, I'm like, oh, well, we're basically already living together. You're not. I don't care if you guys have sleepovers every night. Until you do not have your own place to go back to, you are not living together. It is very different. Yeah, it helps if you're spending a lot of time together at each other's places before you coexist in one place together, but you're not fucking living together because you have an out when you're fucking annoyed with that person, when that person is a hot mess, when they're sick and they have the flu and they're shitting out their ass all over the floor. You can go back to your little cozy home. When you live together, you can't do that. So you learn a lot about boundaries, but I think it's really important to have conversations about how you like to be loved and how you give love, and just make sure that you're being aware of it. And just also knowing the things that you need. I need alone time. I made that very clear to my boyfriend out the gate. I'm like, listen, there are going to be multiple times during the day where I'm going to go in the room and shut the door, or I'm going to go in my office and shut the door. And I just need to be in my element and not be bothered. And you need a person that's going to respect that. Or for an example, like yesterday, I was in a really bad mood, and I'm the type of personality where when I'm fired up, I need a moment, because if we try to resolve it, I'm going to say some shit. We might not ever talk again. Like I go for the jugular. So now, being an adult and trying not to be a piece of shit, my boundary is, if I am in an argument with somebody, I say, listen, I'm done with this conversation right now. Let's check back in later. Because the more you talk to me, the more mad I'm getting. So this happened the other day. I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know right now, the more we talk about this, the angrier I'm going to be. And he was like, bet, got you. Left. I don't know what he fucking did. He like went and made tea. He's like on a tea kick. I'm like, what are you making fucking ginger lemon tea right now for? You're not even sick. Making tea. And then he went and watched some sports. He came back in like 30 minutes and he shook my hand. He said, can we start tonight over? And I said, yes. So you learn a lot about what you're going to need and what you need in your space. And if you're somebody that's like, hey, I need my space to be clean, communicate that and just be respectful of each other's boundaries and each other's space, and just make sure that you're communicating, because it's very hard to live with somebody if you do not know how to communicate, or if you don't feel comfortable communicating. How to cut off toxic friends without losing friends in the process. No, you are going to lose friends in the process. That is the cycle of life. If you have somebody, you don't want a piece of shit in your life, period. Okay. If you have somebody in your life right now that's a dick or an asshole, and you're finally coming to and realizing it, you do not want that person in your life. And if you ending that relationship is also going to end the relationship with other people, well, guess what? You probably shouldn't have had them in your life either. I think naturally, this has happened to me. This has happened to everybody. When you start intermingling friends, and then there's some sort of divide, there is a pressure for a lot of people to pick sides, and people will pick sides. And you learn very quickly who your true friends are and who are not. But that should not make you not want to cut some shitty person out of your life because you're fearful that you might lose other friends. If you fucking lose the other friends, good riddance. It's a very clear indicator that those people should not have been in your life in the first place. Because if you're a great person and you're a great catch and you're a great friend, anybody would be stupid to lose you as one. And if cutting toxic people out of your life and setting boundaries, if the price is that you lose them, well, then they weren't even that valuable in the first place. Sorry. And listen, in the moment, you won't feel like that. In the moment, you're going to be like, this fucking sucks. I'm a loser. Why are all my friends leaving me? But then once you get out of that and you mourn those friendships, you will realize that you were outgrowing them anyway. I am getting married. This is a story time here. I am getting married in the next year, and somebody, oh, wait, maid of honor. Okay, hold on. I think I might have a similar experience. I am getting married in the next year, and somebody who I was previously maid of honor for / was best friends in high school thinks she's going to be my maid of honor. Oh boy. Oh boy. She has not been present in my life or relationship for years and hasn't shown any interest in my wedding. Part of me wants to just ignore the whole situation since it's my wedding and just do what I want. But the other part of me feels like I owe her a conversation. Do I owe her anything? Any thoughts? I hope you just say, fuck it, girl, plan your wedding. Anyways, I love you and the pod's been amazing. Oh man. Okay. I know what you're feeling. Dude, I hate to tell you this because it's not going to make your life easier, but that person probably shouldn't have the same role in your wedding. And I'm going to tell you why. You wrote this in, so you're already having doubts about it. If you're spending time writing something or second guessing something, I always think that the clarity is the acknowledgement that there is doubt. So if you're writing something where you're like, hey, how do I know if this situation is toxic? It's toxic, right? Because that's the clarity right there. The fact that you're even second guessing it. If this person is your best friend, this person's your best friend, you wouldn't even have thought about writing in. I was in a very similar situation, actually almost a copy and paste situation. And it was one of the hardest times in my life. And it was right when I turned 30. And that's why I preach so much about how amazing your 30s are, because I know how scary they are. I had a best friend, and had things continued the way that they had continued for so long, I would have been the maid of honor at this wedding. Even before the engagement to the day of the actual wedding, so much had changed. Things that I just could not foresee changing. It started very slow, where like things would shift or change, or I would feel bad or weird or in my head. And then they just became more defined and more defined. And I ended up getting to a place where I had so much fucking anxiety about it. But again, I was like, I don't want to bring this up. This person is getting married. I don't want to add any stress. The easiest thing to do is just go to the wedding, do whatever we need to do, right? The same struggle that you're having right now. Let me just plan my wedding. I have enough stress. I understand what you're feeling. I was not asked to be a maid of honor, because by the time it was time to pick a maid of honor, our relationship had already changed immensely. So I was asked to be a bridesmaid. Between the time I was asked to be a bridesmaid until the time that the wedding happened, I knew I wasn't going to be in this person's life. And I felt so guilty going to this wedding. I ended up not going to this wedding. And there was other circumstances that were happening in my life that I'm like, okay, that was just more of a sign that it wasn't meant to be. But I had I'm like emotional thinking about it, because it was just such a dark time in my life, because things just felt like they changed so quickly. And something like a wedding, something that you talk with your best friends about for so many years, is now no longer like in sight. And that's really hard, because you kind of feel like someone dies and there's this big thing that's happening, and you know you're not going to be a part of it and you're mourning it. But I got to a point where I knew in my gut that I wasn't going to be in this person's life. And I felt guilty going to this wedding, being a bridesmaid, even being a guest, being in photos that this person was going to cherish forever, knowing that I wasn't going to be in their life forever. I don't know what has gone on. Friends drift apart. It sounds like you guys have just slowly drifted apart, which is normal, by the way. And that doesn't, again, I don't know if anything intense happened that you're not mentioning, but it is normal to drift away from friends. That doesn't mean that you're in the wrong. It doesn't mean that they're in the wrong. It doesn't mean that you should feel bad about it. That's genuinely just part of life. And it's the unfortunate reality of getting older and having friends, and it's very hard to grow at the same rate, at the same pace, in the same direction as the people in your life always. If you haven't had a conversation, I think it's absolutely worth having a conversation. But if this person hasn't been present in your life for years or shown any interest in what some would argue the biggest day of your life, I know you have enough stress and enough on your plate that you just want to continue business as usual. But I think that this person shouldn't be your maid of honor. And I think you'll understand why years from now. It might not make sense now. And you might feel like, fuck, why is this happening before the biggest day of my life? But you need to just trust your intuition. If you're writing this in and you have somebody that's so close to you that hasn't been excited about the biggest day of your life, I don't feel a pressure because you were a maid of honor that you need to make this person a maid of honor. Just things change and life changes. And sometimes the most beautiful things come out of the most challenging situations. And I can tell you from fucking experience, my 30th birthday, I was sobbing. I was surrounded by friends and it didn't matter. I was sobbing because I was obsessing over all the things that I felt like I lost. And I kept saying, why me? Like, why am I turning 30? And I feel like I'm a good friend and I feel like I work hard, X, Y, and Z. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't losing stuff. I was just making room for intentional things. I didn't have any energy left to put it into the things that were meant for me because I was expelling it on all of this unnecessary stress. And the universe just like pushed me in a little bit of a different direction and it made no fucking sense in the moment. I was playing the woe is me, pity me, I'm pathetic, this is terrible, oh, I'm a Pisces, I'm going to cry and cry and cry. And 30 ended up being the best year of my life. And it started off on like one of the worst nights internally. I was surrounded by some great friends and I had a great night externally, but internally I was fucking spiraling. So I know it's difficult, but I think you know the answer. And I think that's why you wrote it in. And I think the clarity is the acknowledgement that there is doubt. And I love you and your wedding's going to be amazing. And again, it's one of those things that you'll understand down the road. It's not going to make sense right now, but fucking like pop off and have a good wedding. Don't fucking stress about stupid shit like that. Whoo! Okay. Next one. How do you know if you're getting manipulated and you are getting manipulated? There it is. How do you know if you're getting manipulated in a relationship and is love was making me blind a true effect within a relationship? You are getting manipulated. I know that for a fact because you wrote this. Again, guys, clarity is acknowledgement that there is doubt. If you are even questioning that you're being manipulated, you are being fucking manipulated. Like, I look back at when I was in a toxic relationship and I remember taking all these online tests about like how to know if my boyfriend is a narcissist, how to know if I am in a toxic relationship. I actually, which I'll talk about it on another episode, I went to therapy like twice. And both times were for things that I already fucking knew the answer to. And the fact that I was showing up to therapy and verbalizing the things that I was verbalizing was just proof that I already knew the shit was bad, but I just needed some outside confirmation. If relationships, I think I recently did the Boys Lie podcast, which was very fun and a different pace than what we're doing here. So it was fun for me. And one of the things we chatted about was women, let's say women, I think women, and also where I grew up on the East Coast with a lot of loud Italians and Irish people in a very chaotic society. You know, it's cold, people are drinking, people are swearing, they're obsessed with sports to the point where like it's concerning. You know what I mean? Like it's just a very intense part of society. So there was always this belief, and just from watching television and film, that love had to be just like extreme. Like it needed to have a level of toxicity. And if there wasn't a level of toxicity, there wasn't any passion. So I feel like anytime I would end up in a situation where there was no toxicity, I'd be like, ooh, this person isn't into me. Why are you not? Like I dated guys in high school that if in college, that if a guy looked in my direction, they'd beat the fuck out of them. And I was like, oh my God, he loves me so much. He's willing to like go to jail for me. You know what I mean? Like it's so fucked up. And then you watch movies where they scream and yell and then they start making out and you're like, oh, you know? So we have this idea that things have to have a level of toxicity for there to be passion and love. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You need to be in those kinds of situations so that you appreciate when you're in a relationship where there's no toxicity. But if you are having a feeling that you are being manipulated, you are being manipulated. Because when you're in a relationship that is healthy, you just don't second guess anything. You will argue, you will have differences, that person will piss you the fuck off, but you will never have anxiety about bringing something up, having a conversation, setting boundaries, talking about things. It just is easy. And that's the difference between dating somebody that is healthy and dating somebody that knows how to communicate and dating somebody that is mature and just dating a douchebag. If somebody is defensive anytime you bring something up, if somebody minimizes your anxiety or your stress or your insecurities, honey, come on. I don't want to, I always say I never want to be the one to be like, you got to leave, because I am so stubborn. And for how I work, like if somebody tells me to do something, I do the opposite. I've been like that since I was a fucking kid. If you tell me, don't do this, I'm going to be like, bitch, already doing it right now as we speak. So you have to realize things on your own. But just to put it in your mind, if you feel like you're being manipulated, you are. If you feel like this person is toxic, they are. If you feel like they're putting you down, they are. Sometimes your gut is the only validation you need. I mean, the FBI, would argue that you need more, but fuck the FBI. I mean, never mind. I don't want to get sued. Can they sue me? No. Okay. I'm going to try to do a couple more. Oh my God. I'm reading this one. Okay. Turning 30. Happy birthday. I swear to God, I have been, my mission in life for the past couple months has been to meet people who are turning 30. And I can just like hype them up. I swear to God, because in the past couple of months and ever since I launched this podcast, I keep meeting people that are turning 30 or just turned 30. And I get to be the ones that are like, it's so much fun, because I know that stress. I know that I know that fucking feeling. And I want you to know it's going to be good on the other side. I promise you. Turning 30. Okay. Because on one hand, I am so excited for my 30s and so done with my 20s. But on the other hand, I feel like I have not accomplished nearly anything in my 20s and feel like I should be way further ahead than I am. And I know everyone has a different timeline, and Harrison Ford landed Han Solo in his 60s, but like I'm still feeling existential dread from it. That's how everybody fucking feels. Everybody leaves their 20s saying, what did I just do for 10 years? Like, I don't know what I want. I don't have any money. I probably don't even know, who I want to be dating, if I want to be dating. Where do I want to live? Do I want to be in the city? Do I want to be like, you leave your 20s and you wake up and you say, holy fuck, I thought the 20s was the hard work, and then you get to the 30s and it pays off and we're on vacation. That's not how it goes. Your 20s are supposed to be a dumpster fire so that when you get to your 30s, you are a little bit more clear-sighted. You have less patience for bullshit. And you can kind of hone in on the things that you're supposed to be doing and the people you're supposed to be around. But we all feel like that. Granted, there are people that are like, doing crazy shit at 21, 22. But for the most part, people get out of their 20s and say, what did we do? What did we just do for 10 fucking years? What I'm doing now didn't happen for me until I was 31 years old. And when I was 30, literally 30, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I lost a bunch of friends. I didn't even know if I wanted to be in LA anymore. I was like, do I want to act still? Do I not want to act? I just felt so lost. And really, when I turned 30 to 31, all of a sudden, there was just so much clarity. And I attribute that to, in your 20s, you want to be liked by everybody. You want to experience everything. So you just spend 10 years absolutely draining everything about yourself. You change who you are to fit into certain friend groups. You act in certain ways because you want people to like you. You just spend your 10 years fucking wasting every little bit of energy. And then when you get into your 30s, you reach this point where you're like, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. I just want to do the things that make me happy and be around people that make me happy. And if that means losing friends or burning bridges or doing things that are going to disappoint my parents, or who fucking cares? You know, you get that confidence to live more unapologetically, I think, in your 30s. And maybe some people didn't experience it till their 40s, and maybe some people felt it in their 20s. But I think to leave your 20s feeling like you accomplished nothing is so fucking normal, because maybe you just went to school, you went to college, and maybe you majored in a degree that you don't even fucking like, and then maybe you had to work a job that you fucking hated right out of college, and then you're just trying to make money and buy your friends drinks on the weekends. Like, you really just have no direction. And your direction will just start to be a little bit more clear in your 30s. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. The 30s, your 30s are the fucking shit. I am 2 years in, and I can confirm I am so happy I am out of my 20s. And I remember being in my 20s being like, oh my God, 30s is so old. I need to know everything I'm supposed to do before then. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. I promise you, it is very normal. Okay, I want to try do another one. How to be disciplined with 6 question marks and 5 exclamation points. It is the hardest thing. Consistency is so difficult for me. But that's all you got. And I don't know what your job is, what your day-to-day is, but if you are somebody that is pursuing being an entrepreneur or working for yourself, you don't have anybody else to push you, you know? And like, at the end of the day, the person that knows you the best is you. And if you want to be successful, you have to be, I would say, 90% delusional. You have to be, because you're just going to spend the rest of your career, life, relationship with people telling you you're not good enough, you can't do it, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. And that's when the delusion needs to kick in, and you need to say, no, I can do it. What is it? Like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah, that was my entire career as an actor. Like 10 years of submitting and people being like, no, and me being like, yeah, no, it's going to happen. You know, like me arguing with the people that are supposed to hire me and being like, you're wrong, I'm going to work. You have to do it. You have to be delusional. I also think the reason why it's hard for us to be disciplined is because, number one, we're just constantly being stimulated by a million things. We have the phone, we have the laptop, we have our friends. Like, there's definitely more pressure on us as a collective nowadays to be doing so many things. So then we always feel like we're not doing enough. And then we go into possum mode where we're just static and we're just like, I'm not doing anything. And we see this a lot with artists. Like, I think that's a huge pattern for artists, where some of the most creative people that I know don't do anything. And it drives me nuts, because I'm like, you're so fucking talented, but they're so overwhelmed by all of their interests and all of their skills that they just do nothing. So I would say this. Number one, I think the most important thing is to set smaller goals. I think a big issue, at least what I used to do, is I would set these giant fucking goals. My goal is I'm going to be a series regular on a TV show. Okay. Well, that's going to take you maybe 10 years at the very least. So, and then every single day, 365 days a year, that doesn't happen, I'm going to feel defeated. And then why am I going to want to be disciplined and work hard when I don't feel like I'm anywhere near my goal? And then we give up. So I think along the way, have your big goals, the big things that you want to do, your manifestation board. I want to, whatever the fuck that is. And then have small daily goals. Like, for an example, I make the bed every single morning that I wake up. I know that's ridiculous, but it's not, because there's science backed evidence. There's evidence backed by, I don't know, guys, I'm running on no sleep. Scientists have said that making your bed first thing in the morning is like the number one step to success, right? Because it's an accomplishment. First thing in the morning, I feel like, okay, I accomplished something. Or like, hey, I'm going to go to my workout class 3 nights a week and I am not going to cancel. We love to get our $14 cancellation fee. Why don't you hold yourself to a standard of like, oh, I want to do it 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be working out or a fitness class. It can be anything. But if you just start holding yourself to having these goals that are smaller and more attainable, and you achieve them in the meantime of working towards your bigger goals, your bigger goal won't seem so far away because you're busy accomplishing other fucking shit. And 2, it just feels nice because you're experiencing accomplishment, and that's not going to make you want to give up or burn out. So Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's at least what I do is set fucking goals every day. Little ones, little goals. I'm going to read one more because it actually goes into that. It says, I'm looking for a new direction in work, but I have no idea which way to go because I'm interested in so many things. But when I choose something, I go all in. So a little analysis paralysis. Oh my God, this is fucking me. Did I write this? This is like story of my life. Okay. I have always felt overwhelmed by the idea that I like to do so many things and I have so many interests. Again, it's like a lot of creative people that they just become overwhelmed by all the things they want to do. They're like, oh my God, I could start a clothing line and I could start a podcast and I could do this. And then they just make all of these insane goals that they're like, whoa, that's a lot of work. Let's just do none of them, you know? I remember when I moved out to LA and Instagram was becoming big and I met with actually he used to be the booking agent on all that. He's still a dear friend of mine. He was working at Meta. He was doing influencer relation. This is before it was just Meta. It was just Instagram. Anyway, it's not important to the story. What is important is he looked at my Instagram. Granted, I had like 200 followers and, what was I doing? I was like posting random shit, And he looked at my phone and he said, you need to pick a niche. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, okay, this post is you doing yoga and this post is you like, fucking roller skating. And then this is a dog. And I remember feeling so defeated. And he would show me at the time, all of these really successful accounts. And he's like, see, they all have a niche. This is the fitness girl. This is the cook. This is the chef. This is the athlete. I'm like, okay, I get where you're going with this. Like people want to categorize their interests and it's probably easier to follow people that have a niche. I don't want a fucking niche. I don't want a fucking niche because when I tried to do that and I would be like, okay, I'm going to be this girl. And I started posting just that. And then I'd be like, oh, wait, but that's like now when people go to my page, they think I'm just that. So I constantly was feeling that pressure of, fuck, I don't want to pick a niche, but I also don't know what I am enough to just commit. This is my advice. If you are somebody that has a lot of interests, or even you just don't know what your interests are, do as many fucking things as possible, okay? They don't all have to be jobs. If you don't have to like have a photography job and like go teach yoga and like be a fitness instructor. Like, no, just figure out the things that you like. Figure out why you like them. What is it about your interests that make you interested? Okay. Ask yourself those questions. Why do I love photography? Why do I love whatever the fuck you love? And then figure out how you can experience those things in your everyday life, whether it be going to different workout classes, hanging out with different kinds of people, volunteering, like just find a way to incorporate those things in your life. And maybe you're at a point where you're working a job that doesn't creatively fulfill you. So you're probably even more so feeling like, I have all these interests. Why am I wasting my time at this job that I fucking hate? Just find ways to incorporate it into your everyday life. I think also when you do that and you put yourself out there in uncomfortable situations and maybe you join a yoga studio and maybe you take an art class and maybe you do a semester in school, whatever it is, you're going to meet different kinds of people. And I think that is so imperative, especially if you are a creative, to be around different kinds of people, because you can kind of enter their territories and see what they're doing. And that will usually ignite a different fire that you didn't even know you had. It'll help inspire you. If you're creative right now and you're hanging out with lazy ass fucking people, I hate to break it to you, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. You need to hang out with people that inspire you. You need to hang out with people that are also interested in doing different and cool things. You don't want to be around people that are going to hold you back or around people that are going to poo-poo all of your interests. You want to be around people that if you're like, hey, I want to maybe try rock climbing today, they're like, fuck yeah, let's go. You need people in your life, maybe not everybody in your life, but you need people in your life that are going to take your hand and go on those ventures with you. But I know the feeling of wanting to niche down, right? And sometimes we have to make money. There aren't really a lot of jobs where you can just do a million different things at once, but you can still have that passion and have that love and just incorporate it into your everyday life. Again, it's like we don't want to do Monday through Sunday every week until we die, go to work, come home. Oh, it's Friday. Like find ways to add that passion that you have into your life outside of the job that you make money from. Guys, I cannot fucking believe, sorry, I have a booger. I cannot believe how many fucking, like, there's so many in here, which I'm excited. God, I hope I didn't like fuck up anybody's life too bad. But thank you guys for writing in and trusting me. That makes me feel nice. I'm terrible at taking my own advice, so I'm really just giving you probably the advice that I wish that I would have taken, which I feel like is probably a great place to be. But yeah, if you don't already follow me, you don't have to follow me because I'm annoying, but if you follow Life's a Joke Pod, we'll have little, question boxes where you can write in stories, and I want to eventually have some of you send in some screenshots of text messages that you've received or savage emails that you've sent, whatever the fuck it may be. I think it's fun to share that stuff. And then it also just makes you guys and myself not feel alone, because when people write in, it's like, oh wait, I'm having the same experience. So I love you guys, and I will see you on Thursday because that's when we do this. And that's it. Have a great weekend. Bye. Bye, camera 1 and camera 2.